So many great issues to get to, important issues affecting people in your district. I think the economy, though, has to be number one because people want to live a quality of life that they can be happy with, and they're raising kids just like you are, too. So let's start with that. Inflation's been a buzzword, of course, across America for the last several years. You've got tens of thousands of people in your district under the poverty line. In Hamilton County, the number's 15%, which is 1 out of every 6 or 7 people. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Sanza. A lot of times we talk in generalities in politics. I'm going to ask you tonight to speak in specifics. How would you turn this around? How would you start putting money back in the hands of the families in your district?
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt that economy is the most important issue facing Americans today. You ask those of you sitting at home, you know the cost of groceries, your Duke bill, gas, rent, mortgage, your house prices are continued to skyrocket. And so how do you bring these prices down? Well, it starts with stop the spending in federal government that's just through the roof. This idea of spend, 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 tax, 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 that needs to stop. And so here's our vision. Right? It's real simple. It's that when we get to Congress, we actually will cut government spending. And we start with cutting the fraud, waste, and abuse that we see across all the agencies in government. And not only that, it's not taxing the American taxpayer, you and I, to oblivion. And so it's my opponent that, he's got a track record of being on the wrong side. Even before he got to Congress, you that are sitting at home in greater Cincinnati know that it was councilman, landsmen that voted to raise our property taxes, our income taxes, our sales taxes. And now in Congress, taking positions that don't make any sense whatsoever, raising the national debt ceiling with zero cuts in government spending. I mean, that was his position first and foremost when we faced impending government shutdown last year. And so we've got to start with actually putting our money where our mouth is, stop the government spending, and then also committing to the tax cuts like in 2017. That's what we'll continue to do on day one, is those tax cuts.
Might get back to you in a bit on the government spending if we could go into some specifics on that. But first, I want to get to you. Same question. How do you tackle this thing?
So it's a question of what kind of economy do we want to build? Is it an economy that's built for the middle class and working people, or is it an economy that's built for the super wealthy? For decades, politicians have built an economy for the super wealthy and hoped that the opportunities would trickle down. And so you have a tax code, and my opponent mentioned the 2017 tax giveaway where you had trillions and trillions of dollars spent on the super wealthy, billionaires and big corporations. He would spend more and more on the super wealthy at the expense of the rest of us. We passed a bill, the House, a bipartisan bill that would expand the child tax credit, to your point, a specific thing that would provide tax relief to working people. It cut taxes for our small businesses, something I've led on, making sure that they could deduct interest payments, research and development, a whole host of things. And then it died with Senate Republicans. We need to build a tax code that focuses first and foremost on working people in the middle class, giving them the relief that they desperately need, and then holding these companies accountable for the price gouging. Now, the government spending, which we're going to talk about hopefully, what he's talking about, Social Security, Medicare, investing in veterans, investing in you, the fraud, waste, and abuse is $4 billion. It's not going to get us where we need to go.
I want to follow up with you on what you just said, but first I want to give him an opportunity. He's mentioning some of these things. When you say government spending, that's a very broad brush. Give me some things, when you talk about government spending, that you'd want to cut.
Sure.
What can we do without?
Yeah, well, let me first address that it's clear that my opponent hasn't even read the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, because what that means is a difference for you at home, whether you're going to have $1,000 or $2,000 in child tax credit per child, or $12,000 to $24,000 as married filing jointly. The CPA knows that, my opponent doesn't. As it comes to federal government overspending, the Government Accountability Office does a study every year. In fact, they did one in May of 2024, where they looked at over 112 recommendations to Congress for where we can actually cut down on duplicative, redundant spending. I'm not going to agree on everything in that report, but we start there. We don't need to do the homework. My opponent has seen this report. Commit to those cuts in government spending.
I just want to get back to you real quick. You mentioned the term super wealthy when you talk about tax cuts. I'm just going to speak. There's a lot of people in the middle. They don't pull the left lever. They don't pull the right. And they're waiting to hear from both of you, and they're undecided here. the criticism from the other side has always been that Democrats want to tax just somebody who's been successful and makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So for the person who goes to college, does the right things, gets great grades, graduates, goes to law school, now they're making good money because they did the right things. Are they part of what you're talking about when you say taxing those folks? Who do you mean by super wealthy?
It's such an important question. And so for me, it's folks who have made tens of millions of dollars. I mean, most families, we're talking about 98, 99% of families should get a tax cut. And in the bill that we passed, the vast majority of Americans did get a tax cut. We did expand the child tax credit, and we did provide meaningful tax relief for small businesses. Again, the Senate Republicans killed it. Now, the issue is that they did not have these tax giveaways for the super wealthy, and I'm talking about billionaires and big corporations. And all I'm saying is they need to pay all their taxes like the rest of us.
I appreciate you clarifying. Thanks so much, gentlemen. Let's go on.